1, 2, 3.
It smells like
All right, hello, and welcome to I Don't Want to Be a Piece of Shit. I'm your host, Carter Doherty. Thank you for freaking coming in and sitting down with me. I'm gonna talk for about 30 something minutes, and we're gonna get to know each other. Man, I swear every time I do a solo ep, I'm always like. I don't know if it's because I have to get geared up to do it, but every time I swear I come in and I just mope's the word. I mope around and I really just talk about how shitty everything is, and I think it's because I build up so much anxiety of like being a piece of shit that motivates me to do an episode. So I do an episode always, I think, at the low points, but. Brother, we're here again. We're here on the beanbag. It means I'm at a low point again, and you know what? It's nowhere near the low points that I was at. Nothing bad happened. I just keep doing this self-destructive. The last episode is a similar state to where I'm at right now, where I was good since the last episode with working out, dealing with my mental health, doing the right things, and then I think I get tired of it. I lose motivation. And I start to just be a piece of shit, and then those days stack up. And I wrote this down. This is the thought that I wanted to get to. I've lived my whole life of going like, all right, I've fucked up today, but tomorrow, starting tomorrow, I'm turning this whole ship around. Starting tomorrow. But I'm trying to change that mindset of like now when I get to be like in the piece of shit feeling phase, I'm going right now. Okay, you can do this right now. You don't have to wait till tomorrow. Why do you have to wait till tomorrow? Because then you can just do the whole day good. I've already fucked up a little bit today. I already smoked a little bit of weed today. So tomorrow is when I start not doing any weed so for the rest of the day I'm just going to smoke as much weed as possible. Then I wake up the next morning and I'm like. Oh, I forgot I said that. Well, I smoked weed today, so I guess I can't. Tomorrow is when I'll start that, and then tomorrow always becomes the next tomorrow, and I keep pushing. I do that with everything in life, and I do that with like I've always been that guy with like homework. I'm always like I'll get the homework done tomorrow, and then tomorrow becomes the next day, and then it becomes the due date, and then I just never do the homework, and I'm like, well, I can't do it now, but I always wanted it to be tomorrow, and I always think it'll be tomorrow, but then I always wait for tomorrow to actually be too late. I be doing that a lot. I used to do that a lot. Don't do that anymore because that's another thing I'm doing is like whenever I have something that I want to change and I say I do these things, something that I dislike about myself, I go, I used to do that. I don't do that now. That's not what I do. Even maybe I'm lying, but it's like a affirmation to myself that I can just like trick my brain into going that's what my default is, and when I do something else, that's actually the fuck up. And instead of going like, I do that. Does that make sense? Is everybody tracking everybody picking up what I'm putting down? I think we can all relate. So yeah, that's something I've heard is like even it's good for your mindset to just lie to yourself. So like if you have bad body image, to just look in the mirror, and even if you truly don't believe it in your heart of hearts, but going like, I look sexy today. I look good. Even if you don't believe it, if you do it every day, looking in the mirror, eventually your brain correlates the looking at your naked body with going, this looks good, and eventually your brain will hardwire it, you know? So it just takes habit. It takes repetition, and to fuse those synapses, when one thing fires in your brain, the other thing fires. So I'm trying to do just more of those correlations, more of those positive things. So, you know, I'm telling myself that I do the things that I set out to do. I look sexy when I'm naked, and I'm a positive person. I'm not telling myself that I'm so a nihilist is a negative person. There's another one that starts with an N. I don't know. But when somebody's like depressed all the time, they look for the. I'm so bad. I want to do a podcast. I want to literally do a podcast, and I can never think of words. I've been doing this on stage too lately, where I have a word that I really want to come up with, and I keep blanking on it, and I beg for the crowd to give me the word, and it's better there because at least they can they usually know what I'm going for. A nihilist, cynical. Doesn't start with an N, but I was thinking cynical. I didn't even have to get my phone for it, but yeah, I'm so cynical all the time. I think like the worst. I go like, oh man, we're all just born to die, brother, and that's not who I am anymore. We're all born to experience life. We're here. Human nature is to be a part of a community, be one with nature, and enjoy each other. It's not all doom and gloom. We're all here for a good reason. But yeah, the main goal of the episode is I'm starting shit today, no more tomorrow, and that's something that I'm changing in my brain. We're doing it today. So what else did I want? Because I should talk about my weekend though, and why I'm in a little bit of a I don't know, weird headspace. I've actually stand up again, same thing as last episode. Stand up right now in this point in my life is going so good. And that's one thing I think that is keeping me positive. I haven't been, I guess I'll talk to you later, but the shows are going good, and like the gigs are like the coolest opportunities that I could have, but I'm not writing, and like not a lot of new stuff coming up to me, coming to my mind lately, and that's kind of getting at me because I feel annoyed going to comedy shows and doing my 10 minutes and seeing the comics in the back. Like, I'm not impressing anybody doing the hits in front of them. I wanna be impressing people with like being prolific and having new stuff. So that's kind of been, I think, dragging on me. But the actual like how well the sets are going, even though I'm doing older stuff, and all the opportunities are so cool right now. This past weekend, I did a clean weekend. I didn't talk about sex. I talked about sex a little bit, but I didn't cuss at all. I didn't say no cuss words. Those church people were happy. They all saw me as a cute little boy that I was. I call myself a boy at 23. Maybe I should change that. But I was so proud of myself. And then on Friday, one of my good friends opens up for Theo Von, and he was opening up in Toledo. And I texted him. I was like, "Do you want to hang out today?" And he said yes. And then after my shows, I went over and I got to freaking meet Theo Von for the second time. So that was pretty sick. I got to. And that just felt so surreal that I was like doing comedy in another city. My friend's a professional comedian, opened up for like the biggest touring headliner, one of like probably top 10 in the world right now. Like, so that's just crazy that's like the reality that I get to go live in. And then I got an Airbnb hotel that was $25 for the night. And so after eating cake in the green room of Theo Von's show, I saw this star-studded life, and then I went back to my $25 sketchy Airbnb that I stayed at, and didn't get a freaking wink of sleep. I heard people coming in and out all night. Now I don't want to seem this isn't racist, but it was like 3 a.m. and everybody in this Airbnb were all like speaking Spanish, like whispering too, which I don't like whispering at 3 a.m. That's no matter what language it is, I'm gonna be a little spooked. But also not knowing what they were saying. Everybody in my Airbnb, I had like the door locked, but I could hear like probably like 6 people outside speaking Spanish. So when you don't know what they're saying and they're speaking in whispers, you're like, I'm dying tonight. But I didn't die. And then I did another set of clean shows the next night. And then the headliner actually ended up getting me a nice hotel that night because I was going to skedaddle after the shows, but he needed a ride to the airport in the morning. So he shelled out some cash for me. And that was very, very nice. And I stayed in a nice place, and I got good sleep. And I felt good. But just the ups and downs of comedy, like of just going and experiencing like the high life of like this is, even though it wasn't the gig I was on, but just like to see what it is, and then to go back to my scary sketch Airbnb, feel like I was gonna die the whole time, but I didn't. I survived. I thrived, and then I was really proud of myself because I'm, when I say as if you know exactly who I am. You're probably discovering this podcast through the YouTube algorithm. Which, by the way, side note, thank you everybody that's been leaving such nice comments and stuff. I honestly haven't been promoting the podcast as of late because the subjects that I'm talking about are so like, I don't know. I don't want to like be spreading it to my comedy audience like that hard as of yet. So I've a lot of people have been leaving nice comments and saying that they just randomly found it in their YouTube recommended, and even though it's like just a couple of people, it does I don't know, makes me feel nice. So I appreciate that. I just wanted to say thank you on the podcast at some point. So if you guys want to keep leaving comments and making me feel good, I appreciate that. I'll like and read every single one and keep refreshing the notifications page to see if any new ones have come up. Oh, yeah, but going back to my stand-up, I'm a very, very dirty comedian, and I talk about sex and cum and shit and piss. And so to have done a full host weekend clean, none of that bad Satan stuff, it's pretty good for me. I was at almost 6 years into stand-up comedy. I should definitely be able to do that, but it was tough, and it I would have paid to see me do that. So glad with that. And then the next week, I came back to Chicago, and I had on today's Friday. On Wednesday, I had a freaking awesome night. I did the Zanies Comedy Club here in town. I got to host for Zach Townsend, very, very good friend and hilarious comedian. It was my first host gig booked by the club, so it was neat that it was somebody that I'm a good friend with that I got paired up with. And then the feature act ended up being one of my best friends from back in Cincinnati that I came up with. Actually, so happened to be the same guy opening up for Theo Von. And so that was very surreal. And then freaking Ari Shafir, who's a famous comic. I don't know who listens to this. I don't know if you understand who that is, but he's a person I'm a big fan of. Just dropped in to do a little guest spot, so I got to introduce a comic that I've listened to on podcasts since I was delivering pizzas in high school to the stage. So that felt very surreal. It was very cool. Very, very good week of comedy for the boy. Did a showcase last night. Freaking did well, but where it's weird is that those moments were going so well, but the past few days, my roommate, I explain it briefly every time, but my ex-girlfriend that I live with, that we're back kind of in a relationship until we move out, has been gone apartment hunting for her next apartment the past few days. And in those past few days, I have not left this apartment. And then during the days, I have just been smoking weed since I wake up until I have to do my comedy shows, and that is about all I've done. And believe me, a couple episodes ago, I talked about my sexuality, my hypersexuality. My jerking off was getting good. Jerking off bad right now. I don't want to, the point of the podcast is to get super personal, but so yeah, I'm going to get personal. It's my coping mechanism, and for some odd reason, I think it has to do with when I would get any ounce of freedom back in the day. But since my roommate has left, the apartment went to shit. There was dirty dishes everywhere. There was trash everywhere. I just was setting up weed stations to roll, and then there would be ash by ashtrays. It was just a wildly disgusting apartment that would be embarrassing to pull up into. My room had just clothes all over the floor, and I just let myself get into a super mentally unhealthy space. And I don't know why I would do that when I don't know. I don't know if it was the immediate freedom made me want to do that, but I today just woke up and was that shitty person for the first few hours of the day. I just woke up, smoked weed, watched YouTube videos, but then I just was well, first of all, I got the text from my roommate saying, "Hey, I'll be back at this time," and I was like, "All right, today's the last day. I really gotta." Sorry, my cat. Ted, Ted's claw is stuck in my hoodie. No, stay here. Please stop. You're not going to get out. All right. Well, sorry about that. I have my cat Ted right here just got his claw stuck in my hoodie, and I could not unlatch him. And now he's looking at me as if I have abused him. I'm sorry, buddy. Sorry about that. But yeah, I cleaned my apartment today. That felt good. The place is spotless. And you know what's frustrating is that like I've told myself I was going to clean up the apartment for the past 3 days. At like some point, I'm like, all right, at this time, I'm going to get up and stop being this pile of garbage. I'm gonna do it. And then like 15 minutes will go past the time that I said, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna smoke this bowl, and then I'm gonna get up, and we're gonna get it on for the day. And I would just never do it. I would just let the. It's like what I was saying before. It's like tomorrow. I need it to be today. I need that drive to just, as soon as I think that I want to do it, I just do it. I don't wait for the exact right moment, the exact perfect little time to do the thing. And that's like been the struggle with this podcast. I almost keep getting behind on the podcast, even though I'm not doing it for anybody. But I'm always like, I'm not I'm in the perfect headspace to do a podcast. I don't know if I could actually talk for that long. I don't know if it would be good if I even did it right now. And I think what is important is just doing it. If you can get it perfect, that's great. But doing it is almost more important. I've realized, like, I'm trying to get good at like writing and doing stuff for stuff like that. And writing is just content. And like a lot of times you have this idea and you're like, this is art. This is a perfect idea. I need to write the thing that is exactly what I'm thinking. But that's not the case of what's going to happen. Like you're never going to have that perfect motivation to do things that you want to have every single time. So you got to just learn to be able to carry on with the feeling that you have currently. Like if you wake up and your legs are sore, you still gotta do your run for the day. It's just not gonna be as great of a run as you wanted it to be. So I'm trying to do that with writing. If I wake up and my brain doesn't feel like making a lot of ideas, well, at least go for the run. It might not be the perfect time. You might not come up with the best ideas, but at least sit down with the notepad and then carry that motivation when you have ideas and you want to write a script or something. Actually push through and every day like put a little chunk into that script, even though it might not be the perfect thing that you wanted. At least you did it. Because then if you never actually do it, even though you think like, oh, I'll get to it once I have the perfect brain, you're never gonna have the perfect day to do the thing that you want to do. So you got to just do it the way that you're made right now. So that leads me to, I guess, my goals for the week, because I'm always on these dips. I'm always on these like down slopes, just saying that shit's going bad. And I always go like, they're going to turn around though. And usually I do things to turn them around. I do like start to kick it into gear. And I've been good with working out. I'm earlier this week on Tuesday, I ran 5 miles for freaking with a 7-minute 15 pace. I'm hitting the gym pretty consistently. The past 2 days I have not worked out, which the rule that I set in my brain is once you hit 2 days of not working out, you go panic mode in your brain and you work out that next day. So I am working out today. I'm hitting my functional leg day at the gym. I gotta do that. But yeah, my goals for this next week, I alluded to it, but no jacking off for 1 week. I'm not doing any jack offs because my roommate left and I was like, the boy can jack off in the living room. Let's go ham on that. I closed the blinds, played porn on the TV. That's deviant behavior. I should be arrested. The TV is not for porn. Okay, I don't know who thought that was a good idea. I went over to the bedside table and I pulled out sexual lubricant to use for myself. I used the bottle of lube that is meant for two parties to enjoy each other, and I used it for one party on myself. I think if you jack off with lube, that's a double sin. That's extra. Like it's one thing if you like dip down your pants a little bit and you're just that's like that's carnal desire going into your brain. But like I set myself up for like self love type. I was like nice lighting in the room. I had a candle going. There was the music on the Bluetooth speakers, and I played just a porn scene on the TV, and I jacked off to it with sexual lubricant meant for two parties. And it was so I finished, and I had the sticky hand, and I was like, what are you doing, man? And that was probably number 4 of the day. It's probably number 4 because I didn't leave. I woke up in the morning and I started smoking weed and watching movies on TV. I didn't leave the couch all day. I would watch a movie, jack off, smoke weed, watch a movie, jack off, smoke weed, watch a movie, jack off, smoke weed. And then I would watch a movie, and then I would jack off, and then I would smoke weed. And I did that a couple more times. And so I got to just quit this cycle. I got to cut it off right here, right meow. So no jacking off, and that also leads to the next goal. No freaking weed. No weed. Okay, I'm doing weed, but no weed until after everything's done, which is, I was good with no weed all of January. This fucking February, I fucked up, and weed got back to me. But it's been bad these past couple of days because when the roommate's here, I don't smoke weed in the apartment. I just hit the weed pen, which weed pen is like, it's like diet weed. I still am functional, so I'm speaking like an addict right now, but I can be fine. So, but I think I'm just like I'm lessening my experience. I'm quieting the world. I'm turning down the volume. I want the full world to hit me. I can't just be taking it on impaired every day. I gotta have my full brain, especially being 23. I don't know. I'm probably warping it so hard with all this bullshit. But you know what? With the substances, though, I'm proud of myself. Still haven't drank since October. I'm still going like I said, or not like I said, but that cool show on Wednesday that I did at Zany's. We went out and I went with a bunch of comics who were all getting pretty hammered. It was a cool night because there were a bunch of comedy shows going on in town, and a bunch of comics met up with each other. So everybody was getting pretty hammered, and that's how life goes. But what I enjoyed is I was able to be around it, and I had a great time. I really enjoyed myself, and even though everybody else was hammered and possibly enjoying other party favors, like I was able to be around it as a person. Like, I will be honest, I'm full-on addict in a lot of manners. A lot of other substance stuff I'll talk about in future episodes, not for the here and the now, but I'm proud of myself for just being able to be around, enjoy myself as a person, make others happy that I'm around. I hope that they were glad I was there. But I was able to do that just toking on weed all night and being just jovial. So that's good. Even though I let weed kind of control my days currently, at least I'm not getting blackout drunk and screaming at people in public. So I'm doing good there, but I still have a lot of work to do. I'm getting back to for the next week. Oh yeah, I didn't say this at the beginning. I'm gonna do an episode in exactly a week from today, and we're gonna see how well I stuck to these goals. I'm working out, doing some sort of physical activity every single day for the next week. I usually am pretty good. Oh, 1 sec. I'm getting a call. Love you. Bye. Will do. Bye. Ooh, that was nasty. Oh, I got it for the pod. Oh my God. Okay. and and we're back. We're back to the podcast. What was I talking about? I was talking about. Oh yeah. Okay. Wait. And now we're back. We're back to the podcast. We're back to I don't want to be a piece of shit. And I'm here and I'm talking about my goals. I was talking about how I'm gonna work out, no weed till the end of the day, friggin' no jacking off. And then here's a big one that I think I was good at, like at the beginning of my whole journey of trying to not be a piece of shit. This all started back on, I would say, October. um, is I was really good about my mindfulness and meditating all the time, and I'll get into a little bit of waves, but I've really lost that, and the journaling. I'm really falling off in the journaling. Um, those are two things that I really think help me with my mindfulness, being in the moment, really thinking about the actions that I'm choosing to make. So for the next week, I am meditating every day. I need to meditate and journal every day. I didn't write that down, but that's a good one I just thought of right now. Journaling and meditating. I freaking got to do those, and I'm actually gonna review my journals to see if I am doing completing the intentions that I'm setting out for. So the journals really help. I really like those. I just do a quick brief of like what I did that day, how I felt about it, and then I do a to-do list for the next day, and it really makes me not just when I wake up the next morning kind of like lollygag around. I have like a real set out detailed to-do list for the day. I even write down like brush teeth, shower, like all the step by step, so that I never like have a moment of just going like, oh, I gotta wait until it's exactly 12, and then I'll like I go like, no, you do this, and then sometimes I'll make even to-do lists like of like, I'm gonna clean the apartment, so I'm gonna clean this part, and like if I don't write it down in the exact order that I want to do it, I'll just be mindless about it. So I gotta organize this brain. I gotta wire it to keep staying to the thoughts that I want to stay to. I really let myself be so ADHD. That's I'm using it like a millennial or a Gen Z would. I've never been diagnosed with nothing. Oh, that's one of the other things that I wanted to talk about. I got an interesting comment on one of my last episodes of this guy using a bunch of like psychology terms. And I didn't write this down, but I had this thought the other day that I really wanted to talk about this on the podcast. Of somebody was saying that from the way that I describe it, I seek for a lot of external validation, which is so very true. And like a lot of the symptoms that I'm saying are exhibited in cluster B type personality disorders, I think is what the term is, which is like a lot of bipolar disorder. What's the one? Borderline personality disorder. And then the one that they were saying I have is narcissism, which like people say that like you hear tale of my aunt's a narcissist and everybody in the family hates her. Or just about anything like that in general. When somebody's like I have bipolar or like they're borderline, you're like, oh, that means they have an illness that makes them a demon and they can't be helped. They're possessed with the bad thing. And so when I first read this comment that like they're saying like it seems that you're experiencing symptoms of being a narcissist, my first thing was to be like, no way, I'm definitely not that. I am not a narcissist. That'd be like, I'm not sick. I don't have those things. And because to me, if somebody's a narcissist, that's something that it can't be cured. That's they have the darkness within them, and they'll never not have it. And so, but then I kept reading it, and then I like read up on what things people that are narcissists might do, and I was just like, I do think I probably am a narcissist, which is so like even just saying that people probably have a bad connotation listening to it where they're like that guy's a bad guy if he is a narcissist, but I'm like I think I have like the tendencies and all that, but then I have the existential dread of like I still want to be a good guy. Like all like in the back of my mind, all I'm thinking about all day is like, "Wow, I really hope these people like me. I hope I hope I'm doing good. Like I hope this is the right thing to do. I don't want to be awkward. I don't want so like I still have all those insecurities of like so I know I'm not a bad guy, but I know I do things a lot of times where my impulse is to I like I don't know. I just have bad impulses that I'll pull through on, especially when I'm intoxicated, or just like thoughts that really like I know are bad thoughts to have. Um, and then like I get mad at myself for having them and like am aware. But I think that I think that maybe I should see a. It's not a psychologist, by the way. It's a psychiatrist. I kept saying psychologist. I was complaining about this to some people that like I got this YouTube comment, and I was just like, "Am I a fucking narcissist? I gotta see a psychologist." It's psychiatrist. But I do think maybe I should see a psychiatrist. I'm gonna talk to my therapist about this on the next session. Although I think if I was like if I had something serious, I've been going to therapy for fucking I don't even know how many, like 4 or 5 months now. This lady should have said something by now, right? I don't know. That's something interesting. I feel like I'm pretty nutty and do some quirky things. I've just, and I feel like there's this whole epidemic of people getting told that they have mental illnesses. And I'm like, am I pretty well adjusted? Because I haven't had a single therapist go, you might have bipolar, you might have narcissism. Like I haven't had a therapist hit me with that yet. I haven't even had a therapist hit me with like anxiety or depression. So it's like maybe I'm doing better than most people, but I'm just so outward about all of the things that I think are plaguing me that I perceive that I'm doing worse than everybody, but so far, zero diagnoses of the brain. Right now, currently, I have the healthiest brain according to science of anybody, because not a single thing has been told of me. That, but then then I don't want to like go in, and it goes back to the whole thing of like I don't want to get diagnosed with something by a psychiatrist and then going like, well, I have this thing. I'm possessed for the rest of my life. I have the darkness within me. It can't be taken out. So like if I go in and then they're like, you have borderline personality disorder, I'm like, well, now I have I can't help all these bad things I do because I have this. So maybe it is better for me to just go through life going like, well, these are all things that I can work on about myself. That's really what I want to say is like if I get like if I am a narcissist, I don't want it to just don't want to think like I am a narcissist. I want to be like, oh, I'm sure I have narcissistic tendencies, but I'm aware of them, and I from where I am now to where I am in 20 years, hopefully it seems like I've done work on it for 20 years. But maybe that's pretty wishful thinking. But that's kind of where my head's been at lately. I'm trying to. I need to carry the discipline, just way stronger. I need to be hitting more. What's the opposite of arbitrary? I don't know. Realistic goals that are like right in front of me that I can hit every day. And I keep making like my goals arbitrary by going like I'm working out more now. For this next week, it's gonna be like I'm working out every day. And then I'm meditating every day, and I'm not jacking off every day. I'm not gonna jack off for a week, and then next Friday, oh my God, am I treating myself? I'm gonna be in a hotel room all by myself, and I'm getting the sexual lubricant out for one party. Oh my God. But yeah, I'm glad to have shared that with you guys. I think I've hit some good topics. I think this has been a good episode. I'm happy with myself. I'm happy that I'm about to do these things for over the next week. I appreciate again all the nice comments. I hope you guys continue to listen. And if there's like shit that I'm doing, I don't mind critiques. I don't really know what I'm doing when it comes to podcasting. I've never done it. And I'm trying my best to put the product forward this is really just for me, but I'm glad that people are catching on into it. So if there's anything that you guys think that would be better, let me know in the comments. Let me hear it. And also if there's anything that you guys are working on trying to be better about, I'll reply to comments. If anybody wants to ever start up a conversation, I'm kind of just like looking at it all the time on my phone too much. So appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. I've been Carter Doherty, and this has been I Don't Want to Be a Piece of Shit. Peace. I feel the boom in the room, yeah.